Am I the asshole for shaving my friend's character? So a group of friends and I get together every week to play D&D. One of our friends plays a tabaxi, i.e. a giant, humanoid, cat. This friend's character is known for being obnoxious, self-centered, and basically just a nuisance. Obviously we're all civil in real life, but in the game, our characters go at it like cats and dogs. Anyways, at the last session, the tabaxi was being particularly annoying, intentionally sabotaging plans, insulting the rest of the party constantly, being extra nasty, and my character as well as my friend, B's character were sick of it. We waited until the tabaxi character fell asleep, then both plotted to shave its furry legs as a petty, revenge prank. The whole time, in real life, the friend who plays said character is making frantic rolls to try and wake up or see if they notice what we're up to. All of them fail and they are getting increasingly frustrated. We finish shaving one leg and have our characters shave their initials into the other, and then we finish with a laugh and little high five. The rest of our friends are laughing and joking about how we should have tried that sooner, and they can't wait to see the tabaxi's reaction when it wakes up. All of a sudden, the friend who plays the tabaxi bursts into tears. B and I look up in shock. The friend says how that was so unfair of us and why would we ever do that to them. B and I were very confused. We said it was just a prank. They said a prank is only a prank when everyone can laugh at it. I said, well, yes. But this is a game. Your character tried to stab mine earlier, you wouldn't stab me in real life. It's just a joke. They got even more upset and the DM diffused things by just suggesting that their NPC would cast an illusion to make it look like the tabaxi hadn't been shaved and we moved on from there. Later that night, I got an angry text from the tabaxi player calling me an inconsiderate asshole. They said that I knew they're sensitive and I took it too far. I got annoyed and sent back, again, that it's just a game and that they had done far worse to my character and I had never thrown a hissy fit over it. They said that just because I don't get upset about this sort of thing doesn't mean other people don't and I was being an inconsiderate bitch. I reached out to the DM to ask their opinion and they basically said, don't dish it if you can't take it, but that if I wanted to keep the peace in the future, maybe just be more careful about watching to see how this player is handling things. On one hand, I feel like this person is being ridiculous. On the other hand, I am starting to feel like an asshole who overstepped. So, unbiased opinion Reddit, am I the asshole? Edits yes. This person acts like this all the time. They usually get very upset anything doesn't really go their way with their roles or their character. This wasn't an out-of-nowhere event or suddenly becoming really sensitive about this specific topic. I did ask them if I'd hit a sensitive topic that I was unaware of, and they basically just said no. It was just the fact that we did it and it was rude and not funny and that should be enough of a reason. We've discussed the poor party dynamic with the DM before, and had little success in changing anything. But based on everyone's feedbacks I'm going to try bringing it up again. Longtime D&D player here. The DM is the A not for just what happened that night, but because he allowed the intra-party dysfunction to escalate to that kind of level. The person playing the humanoid cat is immature. However, I doubt that person is irredeemable. A good D&D game requires the players to be united and on a team fighting other evils, not each other. That is my theory of the game. Categorizing this in the am I the asshole nomenclature, not the asshole, but it does sounds like the tabaxi is a conduit to some very nasty traits this friend is repressing, and this rejection, comeuppance felt like a personal attack, but still not your fault. Don't dish it out if you can't take it back, and fantasy shaving x fantasy backstabbing? Yeah. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. It's a game. Their character is intentionally obnoxious. The whole premise of the relationship is to mess with each other. That being said, I know that D&D players can get particularly attached to their characters and this does sound like your friend is internalizing this character. It may not hurt to sit down with this person and have a heart-to-heart about why this was so triggering and maybe help them understand the bigger issue at hand. That is, if you care to. Not the asshole and also wow that this situation is even happening. Yes, it's a game, but if you don't want your pretendy fun times to devolve into unnecessary hurt feelings, you still need to get permission before doing something to another person's character that they can't fight back against in-game or immediately fix with no lasting repercussions. And yeah, you could argue this falls into the latter category, but a good roleplayer would probably want to deal with the fact their character can't fall asleep around yours and feel safe anymore. Your DM has clearly been way too permissive about letting you all take out your OOC frustrations on each other as part of gameplay, and you either need to figure out a better way to handle conflict or find different groups. Not the asshole, it is just a game and it is D&D, so it is not like you permanently damaged anything. I can see getting mad like this if you stole or broke one of their weapons or a part of their armor, but this is classic D&D fun right here. I agree with what the GM said about dishing it out. Not the asshole. The Tabaxi player sounds like an absolutely exhausting person to have in a D&D game. They have no ground to stand on, getting so upset when they have done worse. It sounds like they are taking the fun out of the game for you. That being said, the biggest asshole here is the DM who can't control the party enough to stop this petty nonsense before it got out of hand. They should have shut the Tabaxi down ages ago, long before other players decided to take it into their own hands. Your board game character shaved another board game character as a joke. The other player took it personally, despite the prank occurring on pencil and paper. I think not the asshole, but it's been quite a while since I played D&D. Could have handled it better, sure, especially since this other person did take it a little too hard. Maybe offer a redo or however that works in game. But as no actual person or being was damaged, I don't think it should be a big deal. Am I the asshole for telling my surrogate to stop acting like she was my husband's wife? My husband and I have been together for 5 years. We wanted kids, but because of my health problems this wasn't possible. We decided to go with surrogacy. My friend nominated her sister, Brittany 29. I agreed right away cause I know Brittany and the family. We've set everything up. Discussed payment, short and long-term plans, counseling and doctor appointments. We explored IVF and chose a private clinic to get it done. It started after Brittany took a pregnancy test. She only told my husband, though she had both our numbers. She only sent my husband a pic of the test while he was at work and sent me nothing when I gave her my personal contact info, but it was okay. Things got complicated when Brittany started having access to our credit cards for her own wants and claimed they were the baby's needs. She excluded me from doctor visits and scans and had only my husband go with her. Her excuse was my husband drives and has time since I work and unavailable most of the time. I felt isolated from this experience but said nothing, knowing she's bearing a lot of burden, so I had patience. My husband had no idea what was going on and if this was normal. This was new to us, so we didn't know. She's 7 months in and last week she had us visit to discuss things that I thought we'd previously agreed on, but she said she changed her mind about and her mom was there too. I heard Brittany out and was shocked when she gave a list of how things should be from now on, since she said, "There was lot of confusion in the past cause of me stressing her out by complaining." She requested she get say in things like baby name after I deleted the list of names she sent to my husband. She wanted more access to my husband's credit cards, free time to get stuff done at her place. Also more time with the baby than agreed on. Then wrapped up by saying only my husband should be with her in the delivery room and used the hospital as excuse. I got up and firmly stated I don't agree on her new terms and that she had to stop acting like she was my husband's wife and this was their baby. My husband didn't speak till she started crying. He asked me to sit down, but I said I had boundaries, reminded her what her role was and how she overstepped. Her mom went off and said her daughter was being mistreated when she put herself mentally and physically through the most selfless act for us, to make us a family. She gave up a part of her life in those months to give us what we want, and I was acting selfish and ungrateful. She had us leave, then told my friend, and it got more complicated. I was told to apologize for what I said. AITA. Edit. Yes, we agreed on paying for the surrogacy like I stated above. So no favors or anything. Edit. No, we did not have a legal contract because my friend said there was no need for us to do that and basically talked us out of it since we are considered family, but we had an agreement including paying her. Edit. Question about whether Brittany had kids of her own. She was a single mom of a 4-year-old who passed away from an accident. She had him at young age, but she always seemed in good mental and physical health. This is why surrogacy is so heavily regulated. Was there a contract? If not, yikes, get a lawyer ASAP. Surrogates have no business being involved in naming the baby or dictating time spent with the child. Red flags abound. You're not the asshole, but you may have put yourself in a situation where an unstable person could now have leverage to essentially be a third parent to your child. You are the asshole 100% for not having a contract, and I find it hard to believe that your clinic did not insist on one before proceeding. Honestly, I think this sounds made up to me, since it is unheard of not to have a surrogacy contract in place before anything medical happens at a clinic, because without one situations like that happen too often. I don't want to sound horrible, but I would check if your husband is having an affair with her. If not physical, then at least emotional. My husband would tell me if someone who involved with both of us was messaging him only. Also, it doesn't even look like he's defending you. It's crazy that he said nothing whilst she made her demands and when her mom was tearing you a new one. Strange. 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 Not the asshole she wants the doting husband treatment while she's pregnant. Lawyer up and lay down the law for her. She's carrying your baby, you get to name it. As for your husband's credit cards and time, she's out of her mind. Also, isn't it usually a requirement for a surrogate that she's already carried a healthy pregnancy to term? Does she not have other kids? This is what's wrong with 1, having a family friend do it. 2, personal, and 2, not checking their mental state beforehand. Not saying it's your fault, she's nuts. Get a lawyer and set up a meeting ASAP. This is delicate. Not the asshole if you have a legal contract that has been notarized. If you didn't do that, then I'm sorry, but you and your husband are idiots. Also, never do business, and yes, this is business, with friends. Talk to a lawyer ASAP. Info. Is this her egg or your egg? This is one of the reasons why it's illegal to pay for surrogacy in UK. You get people trying to blackmail you with the baby for more money. If it's your egg, play nice, then cut her out of your life once the red tape is all cleared. If it's her egg, I can see how she has become attached and wants more time with the baby after they're born. However, she shouldn't be cutting you out, and I'd question if she's trying to steal your husband. What does your husband have to say? Because he should have your back when it comes to her, however don't make him choose between his baby and you. Not the asshole. Lawyer up. It sounds like she's planning on keeping the baby for herself. Am I the asshole for refusing to buy my kids cheaper clothes because my SIL asked me to? My husband and I have 2 daughters, 14 and 16. We both have high-paying jobs. I am a plastic surgeon and he is a neurosurgeon. We met in med school. So we are very stable financially and are able to have some vacations and buy stuff we like. My husband's brother and his wife are not very well financially. They don't have debts and they have a nice home though. Sil and I don't have a very good relationship, but we are cordial enough with each other. My daughters are very into fashion and I think they are very good at dressing up and making outfits. Since they both have very good grades and are well behaved, DH and I like to take them shopping when we have the chance. Yesterday we hosted dinner on our house to celebrate Phil's birthday and many family members came, including Sil. My daughters were dressed formally since that's what everyone agreed to. When Sil and her kids arrived, she stared at my daughters with a frown. Later in the evening before dinner was served, she pulled me aside and asked me why did I allow my girls to wear those clothes. I asked her what she meant and she said that teenagers shouldn't wear expensive clothing if they didn't buy them with their own money. I told her that it was okay since although they don't have jobs, they work for it by getting good grades. She told me that it was not fair and that her kids always asked her to buy them stuff from the same brands. I asked her what I could do then, since honestly I don't think it's my problem. She said that I needed to stop buying them those clothes and everything would be fine. I tried to politely tell her that I wouldn't, but she called for my Mill and asked her for her opinion. Mill said that they had no business deciding what my daughters can wear and offered to buy some clothes from that brand for her kids. She started calling me a selfish brat and that I didn't know what hard work is. I told her that my husband and I work our asses off every day to be able to afford this stuff and that she was being entitled. She just cussed me out and went to the table to continue eating. This morning I received a message from her husband saying that I behaved like a bitch and demanded me to apologize to his wife, as well as complying with her wishes. I just said no and hung up. Now, they are threatening to go NC with us unless I apologize, but my ego is too big to do so. I decided to get an opinion from unbiased sources, so, am I the asshole? Edit. My husband and I talked with the girls, and they both said they didn't know how their cousins felt. They offered to wear non-brand clothes on family gatherings so their cousins didn't feel uncomfortable. DH and I thanked them and told them that it wasn't their fault. DH then contacted his brother and apparently Sil told him that our girls bullied her children, but we compared versions and realized it was a lie. Brother-in-law apologized twice and made Sil apologize. She was hesitant at first but did. I told her what my girls were going to do and she said that it was good, but she was hoping for more. To be honest, I feel like the problem is solved for now. Thanks for everyone's advice in the comments. Not the asshole. Like you said, you work hard for your money and you can spend it like you wish. She can't honestly expect everyone in life to act like they're at her income level because she's insecure about it. Her kids will inevitably see kids with nicer things at school, that's just part of life. Her reaction was totally uncalled for. Do not apologize to her. Honestly, going no contact sounds like a good idea. Not the asshole. Like your Mill said, they have zero business deciding what your teenage daughters can and can't wear. Going NC with them might be better since they sound a bit deranged. Out of curiosity, what did your husband say about their behavior? Wait. You don't know hard work? Med school, residency, fellowship, to practicing MD. That is the definition of hard work. And now you are and your family are enjoying the fruits of your and your husband's hard work. Not the asshole. She is jealous. She can go sit and spin with that bullshit. I am a dick, so I would do a photo shoot and put it all over social media with my kids in the forbidden clothes. Woman shrugging tears of joy. Not the asshole. It's none of Bill's business. Willing to be that the problem isn't really with the clothes but more that they are choosing a different way of parenting and want you to play along for their jobs to be easier. They are going with the, you can't have those things unless you pay for them. You are going with the, you earn the clothes with good grades. Her kids probably argue and say but why X, Y, and Z have those clothes and they don't pay for them. And betting your kids aren't the only ones. And she's pissed your kids just added more ammunition to their argument. BTW, congrats on a wonderful Mill. Tell hubby up to him to fix. Maybe his mom can call out his bratty brother and tell him how the conversation actually went. I am a plastic surgeon and he is a neurosurgeon. She started calling me a selfish brat and that I didn't know what hard work is. #BAHAHAHAHAHA. OMG, not the asshole. Okay, so how many years of school did you and your husband attend? At least 12 each? And you want to buy your kids nice things? Your sister-in-law can't afford these things, and is jealous because you can. If one of your patients walked in and said, I need a breast augmentation, tummy tuck and some lipo. Your practice looks like it's doing pretty well, so I'll pay you the cost of a hydrofacial, what would you say to them? Sounds like your going NC is doing you a favor. Huge, firm, not the asshole. Not the asshole. They sound like major awe. You're a soiled brat who doesn't know what hard work is. Really? Does she have any idea how difficult med school is? Not the asshole, your kids, your rules. To say that you don't know what hard work is just shows the irrationality of everything considering, med school. They should spend less time complaining and more time teaching their kids that you don't always get everything you want in life. Am I the asshole for getting my mother banned from my place of work? My mother and I have never gotten along. At all. I'll spare the details, but life with her when I was growing up was, most of the time, not fun in the slightest. She kicked me out of her house a little over 2 years ago, and we haven't really talked much since. The little bit of words that we've exchanged after that has just been us arguing, her calling me a failure, threatening me, etc. etc. I can never bring myself to block her number and move on with my life because there's always the hope that she'll become a better person, but so far I've been unlucky. We had a somewhat decent conversation, at least for us, a few months back for the first time in longer than I can remember. Somewhere in there, I mindlessly, and accidentally, mentioned the name of the store I work at, which is a place she used to frequent quite a bit. Upon hearing this, she told me she would start coming back to that store again so I could get her special discounts and whatnot. I told her that's not exactly how it works there, and that it was pretty ridiculous for her to use me for a discount. The conversation quickly turned into yet another argument. She said some pretty nasty things that I really wish I never heard come out of anyone's mouth, let alone my own mother's. I had been thinking about getting a no-contact order against her for a while. Just for my own peace of mind and reassurance that she wouldn't track my house down, she doesn't know where I live for obvious reasons, and start drama, or some other outlandish shit that she's done before. After this conversation, I finally put it into action and started looking into things I can legally do to keep her away from me, at least for the time being. The next day, I explained what was happening to my manager. I told her that my mother frequents our store, and since we got into an argument, there's a very real chance she will come in and cause conflict. I asked if it was possible for me to stay in the back room and have someone else cover for me until she leaves if I ever see her coming into the store. It's unlikely she would cause any trouble if she didn't see me in there. My manager, being the absolute saint that she is, immediately agreed. She seemed genuinely concerned for me, and really seemed like she wanted to help. She then told me that because of the severity of the situation, my mother is absolutely not allowed into the store under any circumstances. I personally didn't see why it was necessary to completely ban her altogether, but my manager insisted that my safety and everyone else's comes first, which I understand. I was talking to a close friend about everything, and he seemed to think that completely banning her was a bit extreme. He insisted I shouldn't bring personal matters into a work setting, and that it seemed like I was letting my personal dislike for my mother get in the way of running a store. I considered what he said, and while I still want to believe I didn't do any wrong, I'm starting to think maybe I shouldn't have said anything in the first place. So, AITA? NTA. You have a right to feel safe and respected in your place of work. Not the asshole, she's nothing but trouble. Besides, you wanted to merely avoid conflict. Your manager made the decision to ban her. Your friend sounds like they're misunderstanding the severity of the situation, or just being a dick. Not sure which. Not the asshole. You know your mother better than your friend does. Your mother seems a bit unhinged and obviously has no social filters. Best to be upfront with employer for everyone's safety at the store. Not the asshole. If your mother is likely to cause a scene, then it would force the issue of mixing personal matters in the workplace. You have a good strategy with avoiding the conflict at work by going to the back to avoid your mother. You did the right thing by letting your manager know about a potential situation. If you didn't give the manager a heads up and your mother made a scene, you could get in trouble for that. You are acting more mature than your mother. At this point I would look at going non-contact with her. If she persists, then take the legal route of getting a restraining order against all contact. Not the asshole. Your mother must be a clear danger if she can't know where you live. You were, in my view, obligated to tell your manager that your mom knows where you work because your mom causes problems. Your manager then assessed the risk and made the best decision she could for the safety of her customers and employees. You did everything right. Not the asshole. Not in the least. Firstly, it's totally appropriate for you to expect a good safe work environment. Your manager did exactly as she should do and is working to ensure you are not harassed while at work under her care and supervision. Whether another employee or a customer, you have a right legally and morally to be free from harassment. Your mother has some serious issues. Seems likely that she is bipolar and has gone untreated for many years. Regardless, your concern is for your own safety and sanity and not where your mother shops. Not the asshole. You wouldn't be bringing personal manners to work, your mother would be. I may be biased because I haven't forgiven my mother after 4 years of her causing me much grief, but I wouldn't hold out hope. Block her, ban her from the store, and make it crystal clear that you'll have nothing to do with her. Not the asshole. Your friend seems to be missing the point that the only reason you mentioned it to your manager at all was to avoid bringing personal issues to work. You can't control what your mother will or will not do, but giving your manager a heads up before she comes into your store like a hurricane allows your manager to be proactive about it and not have to be responsible for cleaning up the mess afterwards, which may have cost you your job. You and your manager did the right thing.